Let's now talk more about this launch with the head of the Korean department of the Institute of Oriental Studies here in Moscow, Aleksandr Vorontsov. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. So, North Korea says it's only launched a satellite, it's got every right to do this, so why is there so much concern about this?
It's a really right question, because according to the information we have now, this information testified, confirmed that announced by North Korea as a satellite launch, not missile test.
And is there a big difference between the two?
According to the space technology specialist, yes, it's real and big differences. Because missile test, it's surface-to-surface launch.
Whereas the satellite goes straight into space.
But satellites straight into it one way.
All right, but despite this, a lot of concern, the UN Security Council's getting together at Japan's request. What exactly can anybody do about it? If North Korea wants to go ahead with these projects, why can't it? What can they do?
I think the question is that there is some kind of uncertainty in definition. What is satellite launch and missile test? Because your satellite is launched by missile. And the United States, Japan, and South Korea argue that it was a covered missile test.
But could it have been a cover, bearing in mind this was such a public act? Everybody knew this was going to happen. North Korea wasn't exactly secretive about it.
Yes. And they appealed to the resolution of United Security Council 1718, which prohibited missile activity, missile test, but I think it will be in Security Council consultation and meeting. I think it will be discussion, because it will be some side which will be argue it's a missile test, but another side will argue that it's a launch of satellite.
And you mentioned the word argue. Well, clearly a very heated debate, and Russia's called for restraint from both sides. Tell us, what is the relationship between North Korea and Moscow? I mean, will North Korea listen to Moscow?
North Korea will listen to Moscow, but of course, first of all, they listen to Pyongyang. They're independent in their foreign policy, and this launch is just one of the confirmations that they are possible to exercise independent policy disregarded with the international or outside pressure. But I think Moscow will appeal for to become. It's very, very timely, because the situation in Korean Peninsula now is quite complicated and difficult. The tension between North and South increased recently, and all steps, all measures which will be done should be taken into consideration, the consequences.
We've seen Russia play the part of mediator in many different areas around the world. Will it be playing quite a big role then in this tension emerging?
I think so. Russia in position to be a successful mediator, and Russia exercised this role previously many times, mediator between North and South, and was successful, succeeded to soften the tension and conflict between them.
Just finally, will we see many more launches of this type coming from North Korea?
I don't know for sure, but in my personal opinion, no. I think it's one satellite launch. And
you've been eyeing this story quite closely. It clearly has, from the North Korean point of view, been a successful launch. Do you think that's true? It has been successful?
I think very soon we will testify. We will receive information which will testify or not testify. But up to now, it was a successful launch. Up to now.
All right, Aleksandr Vorontsov, I'm sure we'll be talking to you again on this issue over the next few days. So in the meantime, thanks very much indeed for joining us. From the Institute of Oriental Studies in Moscow, Aleksandr Vorontsov. Thank you.
Thank you very much.